One of my favorite use cases for the GoPro camera is shooting time lapses, including night lapses. Now, while this camera does not have the biggest sensor in it and is not the best camera to shoot night lapses, it is pretty capable for such purposes. The advantages of using the GoPro for a night lapse is it's very small and portable, it's not too costly, and you can pretty much take it anywhere with you. And it's also quite easy to set up, especially if you have it on this little shorty tripod. You can pretty much set it up anywhere. I love taking it with me on hiking and camping trips, and I can be out in the middle of nowhere, pointed up at the sky, and capturing a pretty incredible night lapse, especially if I have one of my external power packs along with me. This particular power pack can power my GoPro for about 48 hours, and that is more than enough time to get a good night lapse. Now, while I generally prefer using the GoPro in the photo mode, where I shoot a bunch of raw photos and then edit them to make a night lapse later on, it is possible to do video mode and create a night lapse. With the video mode, you can make a simple no-edit night lapse. And in today's video, I'm going to show you the settings that I use for that. Now, the advantage of a video night lapse is GoPro does all the processing in camera. It puts all the individual images together in a single .mp4 video file, and then it's ready for you to share. The convenience factor is really the big one for doing the video mode. And if you don't want to edit and just want it straight out of camera, it's perfect for that. I've done some experimenting with the GoPro video mode for night lapses, and I have figured out which settings work best for me. I'm going to share each setting in this video, and I'm going to tell you why. If you do decide you want to try out photo mode, I've linked to my video above that shows you my best settings for GoPro night lapse photo mode. Let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is get that camera powered on. Once you've got your GoPro powered on, you're gonna make sure you're in time-lapse mode. Once you're in time-lapse mode, you're gonna click on the menu here at the bottom. It's so much nicer having that touchscreen working properly now. And you're gonna go down here to a mode called night lapse. If you don't see night lapse, that's fine, but there should be that mode by default. And you're gonna click the edit button to the right-hand side. Once you get into the settings here, you wanna check the format setting here first. You want to make sure that is set to video. If it's not set to video, you just need to click on it and change it. There's the photo mode, and then there's the video mode. You just wanna drag it down and make sure it's on video. Once you've set the video mode, you're gonna go over here to resolution. You're gonna make sure that's set to 4K. Next, you're gonna go to lens. With lens, you're gonna have a couple different options. You're gonna have wide, linear, and narrow. I prefer wide because wide gets the widest field of view, and you're gonna capture the greatest amount of sky when using wide. So I recommend keeping it at wide. For interval, you want to keep that at auto. This next setting is a key setting. For shutter speed, you want to put it to 30 seconds. Having it set to 30 seconds is going to keep the shutter open the longest, and it's going to capture the most light that way. And you want this camera to capture as much light from the stars as possible. Scheduled capture, I'm going to keep that off. For duration, I'm going to set no limit. I like my night lapses to go all night long. And then the next morning, I love looking back through it and seeing what I captured from the night. For timer, I'm gonna set that to off. For zoom, you wanna keep that at 1x. Next are our Pro Tune settings. These are very important to getting the best quality video night lapse. For bitrate, you wanna make sure that's set to high. For EV comp, that's not going to apply in video mode. You can leave that NA. For white balance, you want to set this to 3200. 3200 is going to be the best white balance, and you don't want to keep it at auto. You want it set to something so that your white balance stays the same throughout the entire video. A white balance of 3200 is also going to tend to look best with the night sky. For ISO minimum and maximum, I highly recommend setting this to 800 for both values. One, setting it the same for both is going to keep it the same ISO all throughout. You're not going to have the camera changing the lighting on you. And also, if you go to 400 for the ISO, that's a little bit too low. It's going to tend to not get as much of the light from the stars. But if you put the ISO to 1600, there's going to be a lot of graininess and noisiness, and it's not going to look well. So 800 is kind of the happy medium here. I like keeping it at 800. If you're doing the photo mode, there's a little more flexibility with ISO, but when you're doing video mode, I don't recommend going higher than 800. For the sharpness, I recommend keeping that at medium. If you go to high, it's a little bit too sharp for the video, and if you go to low, I think the video is too soft. So I like keeping it at medium as kind of a happy balance. And finally, with color, I personally like keeping mine at GoPro for the color. If you want a flatter look to the sky, you could put it to flat, but I personally like the GoPro color. And I think GoPro Color Science does a great job with the night sky. And down here is the shortcuts section, which does not apply to this. Those are my simple GoPro night lapse, no edit video mode settings. I hope you find these useful, and I hope you have a great time out there creating night lapses with the GoPro. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you on board. Please hit that subscribe and bell notification button, and you'll be notified every time I publish a new video. Until we talk again, happy GoProing.